Howdy folks, Jamboree here. A few months ago I reviewed All Dogs Go to Heaven 2. You guys seemed to like that video, so I thought, why not review more Don Bluth sequels? Then I thought, why not review all of the Land Before Time sequels? Yes, I'm going to be that cruel to myself, starting with The Land Before Time 2, The Great Valley Adventure. The Land Before Time 2 is set fairly recently after the events of the first film. Littlefoot, Sarah, Spike, Petrie and Ducky live peacefully in the Great Valley with their parents. But the kids are getting fed up of the grown-ups telling them off for wanting to go explore outside the Great Valley. One night, they spot a pair of egg nappers trying to steal an egg belonging to Ducky's family, so they all band together and try to retrieve it. While confronting the egg nappers in a cave, rubble collapses on the thieves and the kids assume that the egg is smushed. However, it luckily rolled down back to Ducky's family nest. Then, the kids think they've found the egg, but it turns out to belong to someone else. It hatches to reveal a baby Sharptooth. The kids are terrified, but Littlefoot embraces fatherhood and names his baby Chomper. Although he grows concerned about how a carnivore baby can live on a herbivore diet and feels that maybe Chomper belongs with his own kind. Meanwhile, Sarah insists that they don't tell the grown-ups about Chomper because then their parents would find out that the children had left the Great Valley that one night. The most noticeable thing about this movie is its huge shift in tone, mood, and animation quality. The first movie was hyper-realistic, dark, and very detailed in its animation. This movie has TV budget animation, musical numbers, and is clearly aimed at very, very young children. It's quite the jump. And I will admit that fans of the first movie and older audiences will be disappointed and even annoyed at this change in direction. The first movie was about a group of child dinosaurs being stuck together. They were from different species, but they were forced into a position where they had to get along and travel across harsh environments to find their parents and a haven, a safety from this dangerous world full of predators. While the sequel is about underage parenting. Did you really think, after finishing the first Land Before Time, I know what should happen next? Littlefoot should become a dad. What? Don't get me wrong, I think Baby Chomper is super adorable. He's one of the best things about this film, and the filmmakers had the challenging task of making a T-Rex look cute. Kudos to them for succeeding. And I do get that Littlefoot has been put in a position of parenthood to better appreciate his grandparents' protective intentions more. But the whole situation feels incredibly forced. The only reason why Littlefoot and friends are on their own as Chomper's guardians is because they won't get the grown-ups' help, out of fear that they'll be scolded for leaving the Great Valley that one night. Even though I'm quite certain that the grown-ups would put aside the kids' bad behaviour in this case because they've ended up in a complicated situation that they're not mature enough to handle. Yes, there is another reason why they don't want to tell the adults about what's happening. They want to prove to the grown-ups that they don't need to be protected by older dinosaurs because they're mature enough to look after their own baby. But how can they impress the adults when they won't even tell them about the situation? How stupid can you be? The movie is contriving a reason to have a story about underage parenting, so the attempt to give the kids a lesson on appreciating their parents comes across as way too forced. Now, the first movie gave kids the Sharptooth, a really terrifying and intimidating villain. This is a character that stayed with a lot of kids' memories. It is a timeless and powerful image for children that grew up with the first movie. What kind of villains do we get for the sequel? Really lousy ones. Ones that whine, complain, bang on about eggs, and are very easily scared.
Chomper! Come back!
Huh?
We're coming, Chomper! Don't move, Chomper!
It's those kids again, Ozzy!
We're coming, Chomper! Don't worry, Chomper!
I get that the audience is supposed to be very, very young, but kids can enjoy a scary villain now and again. There are children out there that do like to be a little spooked. There's a fine line, you don't have to be too terrifying, but better than this. Take a little risk. You're making a movie about dinosaurs, it's kind of hard to tread eggshells about making your villains scary. Like I said, this movie also includes musical numbers. Yes. They're not that bad. I've heard much worse in other animated sequels, but they are pretty crap. There's just nothing really to them. You won't remember them after watching the film, and they're quite corny. I mean, there's a song that's about the villains wanting eggs. When you have a villain number about eating eggs, you know that you've stepped down a notch.
Strut! What? You imbecilic eater! Great green globs couldn't possibly be sweeter than a pile of eggs. You've got to smell them, feel them, crack them open.
It also bugs me how the movie recycles a lot of James Horner's music from the first movie, which comes across as very exploitative and manipulative. Because not only are they being lazy by using music from a much better movie, but they're also relying on audiences to have this emotional trigger where they think, oh, I remember this music, oh, it takes me back, therefore I'm going to like this movie. Ugh, don't do that, it's sleazy. Ugh. What I have a major issue with is how in the first film, Littlefoot and his friends had gone through this grueling journey where they missed their family. They had first-hand experience discovering the dangers and horrors of the predator world. And by the end of it, they could appreciate not only their family, but also the safe haven of the Great Valley. But in this sequel, they're moaning about how their parents aren't treating them like adults. They're complaining how they're not allowed outside the Great Valley, as if nothing had ever happened to them outside the Great Valley. I get what the film is going for, this whole Disney, I want more than this narrative, but it can't be applied to this. I believe the characters wouldn't be complaining about these kinds of things. They've gone for an experience where they would be happy here, and they wouldn't be trying to break out, so it doesn't make sense. I've been giving this movie a lot of negative complaints, and I'm going to try and find a way to praise it, because there are a couple things that are kind of okay, that kind of work. For example, the relationship between Littlefoot and his friends retains the same charming camaraderie between them that they had in the first movie. You can see the friendship is still there, and the movie seems to know, yeah, that's the magic of the first movie, that these different species can get along. The movie does an okay job capturing the spirit of that idea. Plus, spoilers, the finale involves two sharp teeth invading the Great Valley. Yes, that's pretty kick-ass, and it gives an opportunity for the herbivores to go up against two sharp teeth. And kudos to them, they do a decent job standing up to these predators. And it's pretty cool seeing Littlefoot's grandfather fight a sharp tooth. However, the cheap TV budget animation does make this dinosaur action look less impressive than it could have been. I mean, some of the attacks don't look like they're making any kind of impact. But it's still an awesome way to end the film, and one of the only good things about the movie. To conclude, The Land Before Time 2 is certainly one of the more watchable animated sequels out there. I got through it fine. and apparently it's the only Land Before Time sequel that comes close to being kind of like the first movie. And yes, it has this confrontation between the egg nappers and the kids in a dark, stormy cave, plus there's some fun dinosaur action at the end. Those are things that kind of remind me of the first film, but overall, it's pretty boring and stupid. There's still a major shift in tone, mood, and animation quality, so I can't say that it perfectly recaptures the first movie. It's definitely missing a lot of the dark sophistication and hyper-realism of the original. For the most part, it plays it pretty safe. Besides the finale, the only thing I kind of liked about it was Chomper. He's so damn cute. Other than that, there's not much value to this film. But don't get me wrong, the target audience for this movie, very, very young children, will find this to be entertaining babysitter fodder to keep them quiet for an hour and 10 minutes. But I do believe kids deserve better than that. If you enjoyed this review, then feel free to click the subscribe button, because I make a lot of videos like this one. Also consider making a pledge to my Patreon, it would be really appreciated. Thank you. In November, I'm going to be reviewing The Land Before Time 3, The Time of Great Giving. Cheerio, folks.